We say we trust God, but how many us really wait though? He made a way, but we want choices like make more. Put us through a trial to make us strong enough to face more. Everything is calculated, good moves and bad decisions. God will change it round and make it work out like body fitness. Do we really trust him? Look, I've been through it. I'm a witness. Sin has locked me up and I worship till I broke out that prison. We worried about the flight, but the plane has yet to take off. You think the Lord ain't got you, but he takes care of the stray dog. Took care of our biggest bill. Transgression is paid off, but many still blind, they can't see it. Ray Charles, one man killed all, saved all. One man on this mic telling folk Jesus wants to save y'all. Stress kills, get healed. Don't just call on any king. Call on the one who owns it all, and then you ain't gotta worry about anything.
Everything that happens for my good. I'm only moving forward if you wait, I think it should. I never knew I could, but now I know I could. My faith is in the Lord, he said he will, I knew he would. I don't worry about anything, so I don't worry about anything. So I don't worry about anything, so I don't worry about anything.
God's still speaking, we just don't listen. We've all been broken, we just don't see him fixing. Tough times have been good, I know you like he tripping, but that showed me who my friends was. Now I know you feel me. What seems bad can work out when you let him work out. Just trust him and not self. I know that you get churched out. Real faith is real simple, sometimes we overdo it. Nobody needs to know your business, your lifestyle will surely prove it. So take your mess and all your gossip, tell that to somebody else. I got my own issues and my own problems I've been trying to deal with by myself. My focus is that kingdom walk, moving mountains every time I talk. Preach his word around the earth, keep his word inside my heart. The devil mad cause I see him falling every time we Jesus talking. Answer God, he's always calling. Bounce to this like your name is Spalding. I just wanna see my peeps encouraged. Every race in every hood was Satan meant to seem so bad, God can turn it around for your good.
Everything that happens for my good. I'm only moving forward if you wait, I think it should. I never knew I could, but now I know I could. My faith is in the Lord, he said he will, I knew he would. I don't worry about anything, so I don't worry about anything. So I don't worry about anything, so I don't worry about anything.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Pastor Kelvin coming at you from a pastor's perspective right here in the beautiful city of Simpsonville. Excuse me for rocking and bopping. That's one of my favorite songs by artist named Luvana Check. The group was 6 and 33 Anything. You can find that on iTunes. One of my absolute most favorite songs right now. But I got to tell you, I'm excited because in the green room on this evening, I have a special guest of panelists that are experts and just enthusiasts that enjoy what we're about to dialogue on tonight. So if you're just coming into the room, do me a favor, go ahead and take a moment and share this out. Tag someone that you think would benefit from the discussion we're going to have on tonight about a healthier alternative to a better lifestyle. All right. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and bring them on. Let's start with Carolyn. We're going to add her into the room. We're going to add DeAndre on into the room. And then we're going to add in Samson. We're going to bring Samson on into the room tonight. Brother Rob. All right, guys. I want to get ready. Don't forget to unmute your mic so we can hear you. Awesome. So listen, we had DeAndre and Carolyn on with our first live. We discussed it and said, hey, we want to bring in someone that's a trainer. And I thought I could do it, but my dad bod really wasn't working out. So we decided, so I reached out to one of my sons in the ministry who has a cousin down in Louisiana, Brother Rob, who has a business, Radical Fitness down there. So welcome to the live tonight, Rob. Carolyn and DeAndre, welcome back on tonight.
Hi.
So good to see you guys. So as everybody's coming in, welcome to A Pastor's Perspective. Please do me the honor and share. So from my right down to my left to my bottom, I want you guys to do me a favor and let the people know who you are, yada, 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 yada. All right. So we'll start with Carolyn, then go to DeAndre, and then go to Rob.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Young. I am a health enthusiast. I've actually been into fitness and wellness for a little over 20 years. I am the owner and the founder of Naturally Being Lynn. You can find me on most of your social media platforms. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, as far as the more popular ones. So definitely go over there and check me out. It's all about just motivation and encouragement and providing people with information that can help them be their better selves. So check me out.
Awesome sauce. Thank you guys. Head on over there and check out her Facebook page and like and share it. All right, Miss Deandra.
Good evening. So I'm the owner of VV Spot. We're a small business in upstate South Carolina that promotes plant-based options as well as promote a healthy lifestyle. And we recently added the nutrition piece because I became, thank you, I became a certified nutrition coach through NASM. That's the National Academy of Sports Medicine. But yeah, you can find me on most social media accounts. It's VV as in vegan vegetarian spot.
Awesome sauce. Thank you, Deandra. I call him Samson just in joking, but Brother Rob, go ahead and let the people know who you are.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm Rob Jason, owner and head trainer of Radical Fitness down in the Big Easy in New Orleans. I've been a trainer a little over 5 years now. I expertise in resistance training, HIIT training, boot camps, marathon training, and of course nutrition. But from the South down here, we like to eat, so I can coach you on it, but don't hold me to it all the time. However, that's who I am. You can find me on social media, Instagram at Radical Fitness. Now I spell it a little different. It should be on the bottom screen if you want to see the correct spelling, and same on Facebook.
Awesome sauce. So welcome to A Pastor's Perspective, Rob, Deandra, and Carolyn. So let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. And for those of you all that are online with us, please do us the honor and share. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and post them in the comments section. And guys, if you see me looking down a little bit, I'm going between laptop, iPad, laptop, camcorder. So excuse my eyes as they go all over the place. So let's start with how this actually began, this particular podcast vlog. It's been a few months now, and the ministry where I'm fortunate to pastor, the King's Worship Center, shameless plug, in Simpsonville, South Carolina, we started our quarterly fast. We do one each quarter, and we're preparing for one again in April. And for the first time ever, we did the Daniel's fast, so the Daniel fast. And so, Rob, I got caught off guard because I've never done it before. I've read that chapter, I've read the diet, I've read everything that was involved until it was time to actually do it. And I found out how much stuff I had to really eliminate out of my diet. It really came down to just water and quinoa, pretty much is what I was eating, because I couldn't eat cheese, I couldn't eat eggs, no dairy. And what I found was after about, I think it was a week, a little less than a week, of just changing how I was eating. And we also stopped eating after 8 p.m. So we didn't eat before 8 a.m. We didn't eat after 8 p.m. And what I found out in less than 2, 3, 4 days is that I absolutely felt better. So what do you mean by that? The aches and pains that I was having in my body, certain things that weren't feeling too well, my legs, my knees, my feet, my back, I found out a lot of that stuff changed. And also during that fast, because really the only thing you can drink is water, I found that I was dehydrated. So I'm drinking gallons and gallons of tea. I'm drinking gallons and gallons of juice and still not realizing I was dehydrated, was really dehydrated. And after just under a week, felt better, not lethargic, not aching, not in pain. Now the fast has been over, and I fell on a few steaks since that fast. Fell on some fried chicken from Publix. Fell on a few scrambled eggs from the Cracker Barrel. But prior to that, I felt better. Even Carolyn, and I'm a man of prayer, so I don't want you guys to think I'm going off in the left field, right? But even my focus changed, and a whole lot of that. So when you guys hear stories or testimonies, as we would say in the church, of that, Carolyn, what's the first thing what comes to mind when you hear me share that with you?
I think amazing. I think this is what I've been trying to tell folks for all these years. Like, granted, I know everyone is not open to just, living by the Daniel fast or even cutting out certain, necessities that they feel that they need in their life. But as a person who is a plant-based eater, who has seen so many of the benefits from eating a plant-based diet, and to hear that her family is starting to venture off into these areas, especially in a community or a culture that we currently live in now, it's amazing to me, because I'm like, I know for myself, based off of the research that I've done, the benefits of doing it, how you, like you said, you can feel so much better, how you can, do, your body is doing what it's supposed to do. You feel good after you eat. You don't feel heavy after you eat. So I feel great about it. I'm like, thank you.
Rob, I'm gonna save you for last on this one because I have a special question for you when we get around. Miss DeAndre, what about you?
Oh, for me, it's just like, yes, like this happens, So yeah, just like what Carolyn said, like a plant-based diet it's the best thing for your overall health and wellness. I mean, studies have shown reduces risk of cancers, cardiovascular disease, like a lot of things that, people are commonly dying from because of what they're consuming. So eating, your fresh fruits, vegetables, legumes, and, whole grains, and drinking plenty of water, that you're nourishing your body. You're giving it what it needs so that it can do what it needs to do to make sure it does not get, any diseases, any preventable diseases.
And I got to tell you what I didn't share, not to be funny, but even my regularity changed.
Absolutely.
My regularity changed, and I'm a pretty regular, I'm not middle-aged just yet, pretty, but just changing that, Rob, I'm like, okay, time again. So Rob, I want to ask you this just a little differently, because my sister's here, they're on a different trajectory as far as health and wellness and diet. You, on the other hand, are a lot like me. You're a meat eater.
Yeah.
So when you hear me say things like the Daniel's fast and giving up certain things, you're a healthy guy. When you hear that type of testimony, what are your thoughts?
I actually like it. I totally agree with the other panelists. Plant-based, everything that they named and you named, you're gonna do. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel lighter. You're gonna regulate it. And like you said, it's a fast. Now you can choose to continue eating that way, but you have to know you won't. And like I said, I did this off experience. Like, even like, because I'm on like, it's like a 30-day kind of detox meal plan right now, where I once again cut my carbs. You notice a difference in your energy. You can like still work out, but I just personally wouldn't suggest heavy resistance training. If you eat on a plant-based diet, or if you don't eat a lot of protein, which you can get protein in plant-based, but it's a different protein from what you would meat. For instance, like the kind of working out I do for myself, I need to eat heavy, but I definitely agree, man. A fast is great. It's really, it's more than just a spiritual benefit that you're getting. It is definitely great for the body.
So let's ask this question. So we're preparing family, and DeAndre, I'm going to circle back to you for a couple things in just a moment. We're preparing in April to go on a fast right after Mother's Day. We're going back on a fast again. So I didn't do much exercising. So Rob, you kind of bring up a point. And this is why it's called a pastor's perspective, because we have different perspectives, but all of them are based in fact from what we've seen applied in life. How do I include some type of exercise regimen into that? Should I even bother exercising while I'm fasting? DeAndre?
Okay, yes. So you're talking about, so you're going back to the plant-based lifestyle, correct? Okay. Oh, yes. So you can definitely exercise and be physically active when you're on a plant-based diet. So you just really need to pay attention to what you're consuming.
Okay.
So yes, like Rob said, when it comes to protein, it's a little different from heme to non-heme. That's, your animal protein versus
Okay.
plant-based protein.
Sis, because you must have known I was getting ready to say, you got to break down the heme again. What is heme? Talk to me about heme.
So protein is definitely essential. It's a macronutrient. It's, made up of amino acids, your building blocks of body, helps your organs function. It's not just about muscles, which like I think society strictly says, okay, protein, muscles, like
Right.
not about how it does all these other great things for your body. So for protein, great sources include, soy. You can have different nuts. You can have like beans, lentils. Even your whole grains contain a lot of protein. Because I love the sprouted grain bread.
Mm-hmm.
It's less processed compared to your typical whole wheat bread.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a good source of protein too.
Deanna, can I ask a question right there? So can we put a semicolon right there? And the three of you probably know this, but I've been reading and I've also been watching some things that say soy is not good for men. Okay. That's what I'm asking the question. Have you all heard? Is that a misnomer? It's because I've read and I've heard that soy produces extra estrogen in men and causes problems, and can also cause problems with women if it's consumed too frequently. So that's inaccurate.
So there is not enough evidence to suggest that. Okay. Just like a lot of other fruits and vegetables will promote fruits. Just plants, period. Phytoestrogen. That's what it's called, phytoestrogen. And so the way it affects humans is where it can either block some of our estrogen hormones or I guess progress it further or whatever. So when it comes to men, even if you're going to have to consume like a crazy ton of soy. I mean, like something that you're not going to consume, in order to disrupt your hormones in any type of way. And so I suggest people to Google Scholar, some of this information because yes, like phytoestrogen is found in a lot of plants. So you're consuming it. But you don't have to consume soy in order, to get phytoestrogen in your body. But when it comes to so can we go back to the physical?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Take up all the time, you guys. Like, feel free.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, because this means a lot to me because I'm physically active. I play tennis. I go to the gym. Sometimes I do 2-a-days. So like
you run around the neighborhood. Yes, ma'am. You're on the bicycle. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so you need to consume enough for what you're doing in order to have the muscle protein synthesis. That's where it's properly metabolizes and does what it needs to do for your body.
So I can look like Rob.
So yes. So your average person who does not really exercise like that needs about I wish it was on the top. 0.8 grams per kilogram.
Okay.
Yeah, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram. And then for those who are physically active, you're obviously going to need a little bit more protein than that. I think I read something that's like up to 2 grams or 2 point something grams. And you can find this on, National Institutes of Health. Like, look for credible resources. Anything that says .org behind it, that's going to be a credible resource, or .gov or something like that.
Okay.
But you can certainly be super active with your plant-based diet.
Carolyn, what are your thoughts? Same. Okay. Because I know you post a lot of videos of working out. You did one that I remember some time ago. You were in the gym and was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, where does she get the strength? Because she's only 100 pounds. Yeah. But what? So talk to me. What are your thoughts?
So I kind of feel the same way Deandra does. But I definitely understand Rod's perspective because I feel like in the fitness world there is this protein is pushed a lot. Like, it's a heavily focused thing. Like, I mean, you got to have so much protein to build muscle. You got to lift heavier weights to get more definition and things like that, you know, from what I understand. So,
And that's what they, Carolyn and Rob, that's what with Joshua, my son, that's what his coaches, I mean, they even have him on protein. So I'll get to that question in just a minute. So yeah, so yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
no problem. And so before the pandemic and me having access to the gym, I worked out 5-6 days a week and
Okay.
for about 2.5 hours per time. I strength trained. I did strenuous cardio. I actually love cycling. Never personally had any problems with it, but I feel like it's all in what you eat, right? It's all about making sure you get the proper foods and the proper amount of that food in you to be able to sustain you throughout your workout. Like my workouts, I know on a previous in a previous conversation with Rob, he had mentioned that he burns about 2,000 calories or so during his workout. And
That's a rack of ribs.
yeah, I mean that's the daily intake of calories for almost a normal person almost. So it's like, you know, so if you're burning that much, naturally you're going to have to eat just as much. My calories would probably burn calories would average about 700, 800 calories per time. So obviously I was not working out as strenuous as he was or he is. So I
Which
think
goes to the point.
it all just depends on what your actual fitness goal is, how much you're working out, and being able to compensate that with whatever nutritional food that's important to you. Like, you know, Rob might like fish. I might like some tempeh. So, I mean, as long as he eats enough to get his protein from that fish and I eat enough to get my protein from my tempeh, it doesn't make anyone better than the other. It just means that we're getting it from different sources. So that's kind of like my take on that.
So Rob, when you're dealing with people, how do you determine how to help them with their fitness goals? So if someone comes in, they're moderately overweight, modestly overweight, and they really don't have a regimented diet plan, how do you begin? And I'm going to ask that same question. How would you get somebody on a good routine to get to a healthier alternative? Because quite frankly, we want to live better. We don't want to ache. We don't want to be sick. We don't want to be on medicine. How do you begin that, Rob?
I start with height and their current weight chart to show them the heaviest they can be at their height. You know, because dealing with a lot of African Americans, they'd be like, I don't, you know, that's, and I'm like, why would I do that to you? You know, you're not. So I find the healthiest weight for their height, because you want to do that because once your weight down, your heart has to work more. And that's when all the come in. When your heart is overworking, you got your diabetes, all that, just bad body fat that's on your body. So that's where I start. Next, of course, you know, you always ask them their goals. What would they, you know, like the result to be? And from there, my first session, not so much full work. I test their muscle endurance, their cardiovascular endurance, their core strength, and from there I see what level of high intensity, medium intensity, low intensity workout. Because most people that you get, they want to be lean. I rarely come across people that want to bulk up, you know. So most likely, and I swear by high intensity workouts, high intensity interval training. That's what HIIT stands for, HIIT. So that's always my first take when I get a new client. I check the healthiest weight for their height, and then I put them through an assessment to see what level of intensity I can start them. And as far as nutrition, most people, I start with a detox just to clean their body, you know, of all of the toxins, and just kill a bad eating habit that they may have. Now, rarely, but I do get some people that already eat good. So that's always amazing when I have that, because that's the most important part of the journey is your nutrition. So that's kind of, you know, how I started off.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So DeAndre, I'm going to come over to you. So you heard Rob, you talked about the height, weight, You talked about muscle endurance. So if I come to you, hey, DeAndre, I know you're doing this. I know you've got VV Spot. I'm still eating ribeye steaks, but I'm going to go over to Rob and start some radical fitness training. He's told me I'm 5'11". I'm about 35 pounds overweight. I need to change. He's saying I need to change my eating habits. What does an assessment look like with you? How would you help someone begin a healthier alternative?
Sure. So I'll first, try to learn more about their current eating habits. So like you said, you like ribeyes, steaks, whatever.
Oh, yes.
But but we delve a little deeper into, like, first off, have you ever tried to lose weight in the past? Like, what were the successes? What were the, concerns there? And then we'll look into, what your typical eating habits are throughout the day or throughout the week, because like a lot of people have some like go-to options, like a rush, which I'm typically am in a rush. I try to just get some oatmeal or, just try to see also how much they eat during the week or during the day. I look at any barriers that exist for them in eating healthy, because a lot of times people think it's expensive. They might not have, a grocery store accessible to them. Just like really trying to get the big picture there so that, I can see, okay, so here's maybe, some suggestions. Like, what do you think if we tried this, and if they're good with it, then we just go on and be successful.
Now, Carolyn, you mentioned, thank you, DeAndre. You mentioned, Carolyn, some time ago, well, in our intro, that you've been talking about, changing diet habits, eating habits. And I hear buzz phrases like eating good, eating healthy, clean eating is another phrase. That's more of a church phrase. But how do you initiate that for someone? Okay, sis, I think I've called you and asked you that before. I want to do a little bit better. What can I do? So share with me some ways that people who want to begin a healthier alternative can begin.
I think I've always approached it from a kind of like an internal perspective. My main focus for changing my eating habits was because I had a reason. I had a reason. I didn't want to live a certain lifestyle or be in a certain condition when I got older.
That's
I
right.
wanted to. I have kids. I have grandkids. So
shout out Saya.
So I wanted to make sure that I was always, or I did my part to take care of this body that I was given. So for me, my first approach is find your why. If it's to get off blood pressure medicine, if it's to get off high cholesterol medicine, diabetes medicine, heart medicine, what you don't want to end up, obese, whatever that situation is, find your why. And it's okay if your why changes as you continue through the lifestyle. But if you find your why, that's a motivator for you to continue to stick with it, to be encouraged. And so that's kind of like my first approach. My second approach is to figure out, as DeAndre said, like, what foods do you typically eat, and try to incorporate healthier choices. So if you normally eat white rice, let's change that up to brown rice or couscous or quinoa. If you normally eat a steak, can we have chicken breast instead? So just trying to make smaller changes to give you the benefits of actually meeting your goal, and understanding that everything doesn't happen overnight. Explaining to people that I work with or have conversations with that it's not a marathon. It is, it's not a race, it's a marathon, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's right.
It takes a while, and nothing, some people, they make a decision and they are fed up and they can make a switch like that. But most people, it takes baby steps. And so just trying to incorporate like certain foods, like, yes, you might like butter in your potato, but instead of having country crock or whatever the butters are, can we try vegan butter? that doesn't have as much cholesterol in it.
Right.
You know, can we do that? I mean, instead of cooking with oil, can we try to cook with water? Can we saute our vegetables in water?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of adding salt, can you just add a whole bunch of other stuff like paprika and Italian seasoning and oregano and basil? Can you do that? So just making little small changes and trying to educate people that there is a difference, and you don't necessarily have to prepare meals the same way you were taught to prepare them.
You hit something as we get ready to go into the next thing. So I'm going to put on the pastor's hat for just one moment. I'm trying not to pay any attention to my wife. She's back on clowning again tonight. This is her why.
Oh.
So yeah, shout out to Lady Nicole. Get me distracted. So let me put the pastor's hat on tonight because I'm looking at something. I'm looking at our numbers as far as people coming in. And I want to say to everyone that's out there, maybe you're a church person. Maybe you came up like me with the frame of mind that I'll pray over my food. I'll pray over my I've heard some ridiculous things. I'll just pray over my medicine that God heals my body. Well, God has given us the opportunity, regardless of your perspective. If you want to go biblical with me, then we can turn over to Leviticus 11. He's given us a diet plan. We can go back to the garden. He's given us a diet plan. But a lot of the things that we are believing God for miracles, it's a lifestyle. And there's a phraseology, everyone, that we use in the church called generational curses, generational. I tend to believe it's a generational habit for most of this stuff. There are generational traits where they may say, well, did your mom have high blood pressure? You're probably going to be predisposed to it. Well, the fact is, it's not so much that mom was predisposed to it. Mom just cooked with lard,
Absolutely.
you know, because grandma cooked with lard, you know, sweet potato pie, you know, all these types of things. What did that look like? Now, as I'm saying this, I'm stepping on, as we say, my own toes, because I love this stuff, right? I don't do the pork. I don't do any of that. However, when we talk about wanting to not be on blood pressure medicine, not wanting to be on cholesterol medicine, because some years ago, when I went to go see my doctor in Colombia, my cholesterol was high, my blood pressure was really bad. And he said to me, Rob, well, listen, you're going to have to do something. He says, well, how much do you exercise? Well, I'm not exercising. Well, talk to me about your diet. I really am not doing anything with my diet. And he put me on something for blood pressure. He put me on something for cholesterol. And the way it made me feel was awful. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to live like this, or do I want to just simply make some adjustments? So to my church folk that are out there that are watching, I believe in miracles, and I've seen miracles happen, right? Anyone that says God isn't working miracles, can I be the pastor for a minute? They still happen. But the biggest miracle you can make is a decision to make a lifestyle change and ask the Lord to give you the strength to help you give up those things that aren't good for you. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. I'm going to ask God to take away my high blood pressure, and then we get discouraged when it doesn't happen. What are you doing? While I pray about it and I take a cap of vinegar.
Right.
Well, it worked for great grandma, but we are nowhere near as active as our great grandparents. For some of them, they were in the fields. They were, doing they were always active. So a lot of the things that they ate was what they had access to. So when we talk about, here we go, when we talk about the pig feet, when we talk about the chitterlings, when we talk about the pork chops, when we talk about those types of things, some of that is cultural, but it's kind of what we had, but now we can do better. So we have people on tonight like Rob, who's a trainer, DeAndre, who's a nutritionist, Carolyn, who's a health and wellness enthusiast, who've put these things into practice, and they believe in God.
Amen.
Right. So we have all of these things in place that can help us be better. So my whole thing with this particular podcast, everyone, is I don't want to be a pastor that has to pray for miracles for blood pressure, when all we have to do is change some things. So I've got a couple of comments out there that I'm going to post up. We have Deacon Forbes. He says, so I want to lose 50 pounds, but I have mild COPD. What should I do? DeAndre, looks like you're ready to jump on the Carolyn, and looks like all of you are ready to go. So let's go with DeAndre, Rob, and Carolyn.
Mm-hmm. So one of the first things you should do, obviously, before you make any lifestyle changes, talk to your physician. And there are some great resources. I forgot the actual names of them. But just like I said, if it has anything with .org or .gov behind it, like if you just research COPD,
It's like she froze.
nutrition guidelines. Oh, I froze. Did someone freeze? Did I freeze?
I think Kelvin froze.
Oh, Calvin froze. Okay. All right. But yes, you can look for different resources there. The first thing we start off with always is, your water intake. And then, like, I don't know if you have any other existing conditions aside from COPD. So I don't want to get in the weeds of, what exactly to do there. Because if you're on blood thinners, I can't say, try to consume, leafy greens and things like that. But, talk with your physician, and really you should see a registered dietitian, because they'll be able to really indicate, and look at your medical history and things like that to see what modifications you should make. But definitely start off with water, and then look at how you can slowly make healthier choices of, okay, great. Great, thank you. Okay, so start off with increasing your vegetable intake, okay? And then do look at, like, I don't know if you try to walk a little, because I know that sometimes is difficult with COPD. But, if you are able to walk some, try to make sure you're walking about 30 minutes a day, and do that in increments. It doesn't have to be the full 30 minutes. Like if you can walk for 5 minutes and then, do some more of those, and then you'll get your 30 minutes in. And then also look into, still see a registered dietitian, but look into consuming, enough carbs for the energy. Because like carbs, I know a lot of people think, oh, it's going to turn into fat and things like that. But that's if you're not using them correctly. And so your carbs are going to come from your plants. Okay, your fruits and vegetables, you do need those in order to perform. So definitely try to make sure you get your macronutrients. And if you're not on a supplement, because chances are it's probably difficult for you to make all these changes, just remember a supplement is that. It's not where you're going to focus on, okay, I'll get all my iron and I'll get all my vitamin C, I'll get everything from this supplement. No, try to make sure you're getting, you're eating all your different food groups, and then, still take your supplement just in case you're missing anything here and there. But yeah, your whole grains, fruits, vegetables, legumes, try to eat those in just about every meal that you have.
Awesome. And Deacon Forbes, also, I have DeAndre's information down there so you can follow up as well. Thank you, DeAndre. Rob, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, definitely. Real short, because she summed it up pretty much. I would definitely recommend cardio where you can possibly sit down as well. Maybe like a stationary bike. They have all kind of like new machines that they're making where you can it doesn't require high impact. Yoga is also good if you want any light resistant training. Like you say, you just got to be real careful with that, because I know COPD, you can be very short of breath, and in order to burn fat or to lose that amount of weight, you're going to have to get that heart rate up, or you're going to have to, work. So it may be best to outside of your diet, which is the most important part of where your weight loss is going to come from. But as exercising, I would recommend like a treadmill, a bike, and just other cardio where you can possibly not, be on your feet the entire time.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. And Deacon Forbes, I've got Rob's information up there as well. Carolyn, any feedback on that as well?
Absolutely. I concur with what Deandra and Rob said. I'm going to tell you a personal story. I have a daughter. She is 19 years old. And at the age of 9, she was diagnosed with exercise-induced asthma.
Wow.
We've been on a plant-based diet now going on 4 years now. And prior to her changing over to this diet, she suffered. She plays soccer, so it's a very strenuous sport with regards to cardio. She was constantly running, but she couldn't make it through like the first 15 minutes of the game without raising her hand and needing to be taken out. Currently, she still plays soccer. We've been on a plant-based diet for 4 years. She no longer uses an inhaler. She no longer complains to mommy about having issues breathing. And she was one of the reasons why we as a family chose to go over to a plant-based diet. And as I said earlier, I understand that plant-based is not for everyone, but there is some amazing research out there about people experiencing life-changing events based off of eating a plant-based way. Through my research, what I found is that a lot of mucus is created in the body through dairy and
Oh yeah.
eggs. So like your cheeses, your cow's milk, your butters, your sour creams, anything mayo, things like that. It creates a lot of mucus in the lungs and in the body. So cutting those items out of our diet significantly helped her. My suggestion is not that you do the same, but that you do your research to determine whether or not that's something that could benefit you, because it is my understanding that a lot of mucus actually builds up in the lungs associated with COPD, which kind of obstructs the breathing and contributes to like coughing and things of that nature. So I encourage you to definitely look at that. My advice is, if you cut out your dairy, I guarantee you, and you start to incorporate these other things that, Deandra and Rob suggested, as in stationary cardio, yoga, resistance training, you will see a difference in your weight. I don't necessarily, and then hopefully as you continue to get to the point where you feel better, as far as being able to not have to worry about coughing or losing breath, you'll be able to take longer walks. You'll be able to walk a flight of stairs. You'll be able to, ride a bike or, lift weights. So I think for me, my advice to you, just on a non-professional, non-medical level, would be to look at research regarding dairy and the impact that dairy and eggs and the impact that it has on mucus in the body.
Wow.
And can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I quickly looked it up because I was like, why can't I think of the website? So nutritionfacts.org. So that's a great resource, and they actually have like different things as far as like your condition. So like this one, I don't know if you can see, but it says treating COPD. Oops, sorry, I can't figure out how this works.
No
so
worries.
it already has treating COPD with diet. So you can go on nutritionfacts.org, and then there's also pcrm.org, and that's another great resource where you can look at how eggs affects your body and how dairy affects your body and stuff like that.
I got to tell you, this stuff is factual, but I love eggs.
I do too.
I love eggs. And when, in my days when I was lifting weights, and we're going to get into some other, because I want some definitions from you guys. Rob, when I was a weight guy, eggs were one of the main things that I had, because I believe you had to consume those things to bulk up. And Deacon Forbes said to tell you guys, thanks.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And I've got one more question for you guys. So we'll get into that in just 1 second. We have a question from, let's see if I can get back to it, from Sister Ann, Miss Ann Givens. She says, my why is to get off diabetic blood pressure meds. So that's her why.
That's my TT.
That's your T. Okay. But she says, I really don't think I'm a vegan person. So let's break this down. What is the difference in the highest level, easiest explanation, not going into the different levels of it? What is the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian? Whoever wants to take that, I'll put it out there.
Carolyn?
So in basic form, vegans don't eat anything derived from an animal. So anything. They don't eat anything, they don't wear anything, they don't buy anything that an animal has had a part in. If it has a face and a nervous system or a nervous system, vegans don't do it. Vegetarians eat cheese, they eat milk, animal cheese, animal milk, they eat honey, and they just don't eat meat. They don't eat anything that, was
Or
once
chicken
alive
stock.
or
Mhm.
chicken. So yeah, so that's the basic form.
Whew. So if I ever decided to cross over, I would have to be a vegetarian. So because I gotta have some of the things. Well, the dairy I can live without as far as the milk because I got off whole milk some time ago and I felt better. But getting away from the cheese, the eggs, because I don't want to be. So you guys don't jump on me, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't want to be thin. Does that make sense? I want to get to a weight where I'm healthy. I don't have the dad gut, and I never wanted to have. I see you, sis. I'm coming to you. One of the things, Brother Rob, I wanted to stay away from is I didn't want to be the old guy in the front yard with a wife beater on, whose
Yeah.
shirt goes up under his chest.
I got you.
That's who I don't want to be. So I want to be, I still want to have my size, but my biggest concern is with those diets. So not with those diets. Let me change that. With a lifestyle, a vegetarian lifestyle, or my wife cutting up, y'all. No, tell Nicole to leave me alone so I can focus. So that's my biggest concern. And so bringing the three of you on, because we have the best of all worlds and all perspectives. I want to be healthy, but I don't want to be thin. And from what I've seen, I don't see where, and this is where I'm open up for feedback and correction, because you all are my experts. So help me. By going either vegan, taking on a vegan lifestyle or a vegetarian lifestyle, that's one of my concerns. Even though I know when I did Daniel's fast, I did feel better. Now, I don't feel awful now that I'm consuming meat, but I certainly don't feel the same way that I did when I did that 21 days. So I'll throw that out there for whoever wants. Carolyn, I saw your hand go up first, so I'm open. My name is Steele, so you won't break me. Go ahead and share your point.
No, absolutely not. And I wanted to just talk about misconceptions. So there is a misconception that all vegans are skinny. All
Right.
vegans aren't skinny. There are some fat vegans. Don't get the impression that just because you eat, because certain vegans, although they live a vegan lifestyle, they still eat processed foods. So just like in with the regular carnivore diet, there are imitation meats and things of that nature that that vegans consume, because why they're vegan is just for like the animals. Like I don't want to eat animals. I want to protect the animals. So they still desire the taste of meat. Some of them could have been meat eaters or not, but they still want that texture and that desire from the processed meats, like the Beyond Beef burgers and the Impossible burgers and the Phil roast sausages. So
that Impossible burger is the truth at the Cheesecake Factory. Shout out to the Cheesecake Factory. That Impossible, Brother Rob, that Impossible burger is where it's at.
And I think there also are levels to veganism too. Like me and Deandra talking about the Impossible burger, we're like, probably not gonna really do that. But some vegans like the Impossible burger. So that's the only thing I wanted to say with regards to vegans being skinny.
And with that comment, I just saw, yes, each is different. Yes. And then you also have Whole Foods plant-based. So just to throw something extra out there, Whole Foods plant-based is where you're literally eating whole foods, like nothing processed, or it's like minimally processed, like the sprouted grain bread I mentioned earlier. And then you also have your raw foodies, your raw whole food plant-based eaters who do not cook their food.
That's like the holistic, raw. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, you have a lot of different eaters out there. But for someone who's not trying to be vegan, or maybe I'm assuming she's trying to mean plant-based, or a lot of people typically mean plant-based sometimes when they say vegan. So, just try to make some modifications, you know, or the healthier alternatives.
Yes, ma'am.
Try to, like, if you're one of those, like, I need my dairy, you know, it's so difficult to do that. Like, just try, you know, be like a kid and try things out, you know, try soy milk. If you don't like soy milk, almond milk. If you don't like almond milk, try cashew or oat, you know, like just try one of the plant-based, because seriously, taking dairy out, oh my goodness, it will make a crazy change. Like, you will feel a lot better. And then for like your meats, try to gradually get away from eating meat at every meal. You know, that's the issue with the Western diets, is that we're just like, I need my meat like with each meal, and then I also need my cup of milk or some cheese sprinkled on top. Like, that's where we mess up, and that's where a lot of populations, like when you look at you know, some Asians that come over here, like their life expectancy declines because they're eating the way that we eat over here, which is poor. So, you know, try to have meat one time a day. And then once you successfully meet that, try to just limit it to like 2 or 3 times a week. Because I mean, seriously, you don't really need to exceed that. And then some other alternatives you can make is, you know, just like he said, you know, we do have those fake meats. You should not eat those that often. If anything, like I'd say maximum once a week, you know, of those fake things, because they're like really not that good for you with the comparison of, you know, the cow and the you know, plant-based one. Like, when you look at the calories and the you know, some of the other nutrition information, it's just like, is it really that much better? And same thing with some of our cheeses, you know, they still contain saturated fat. Now, mind you, not as much saturated fat as
blasphemy. Blasphemy. That's blasphemy. Cheese
but,
is a gift.
but I mean, like, you can make your own cashew cheese, you know, but I know some people are just like, that's doing too much, and I totally understand. But even just try to go without it, you know, for some things that you're used to, because like I used to have cheese on my pizza, you know, back when I was your regular omnivore. And, you know, now sometimes I go completely without cheese, or even if they do offer cheese, I'm just like, okay, I'll just get it on half and just sprinkle a little bit. Like, I don't need that much because I know how bad that is. So just make some minor changes here and there. And I think you'll gradually like begin to accept, like, okay, I can do this. I can do this plant-based thing.
So Rob, I saw you smile a little bit about that as far as the proteins of food. So this is why this show is called A Pastor's Perspective. This is why I wanted someone that was not vegan nor vegetarian on the show as well. But I did see you nod about reducing the amount of times during the week that you eat meat. Yes, so sir. Is that something when you're dealing with your clients that you direct them to do as well? When you
Absolutely. First thing I go for is like cut all of the beef out. Beef itself is just heavy and hard to digest on the body. And if you're eating it multiple times a week, man, it's gonna affect your health. And like once you stop eating it, that's when you really understand it and you feel the difference. You know, you've been saying ribs all night. Now I want some ribs, but I know if I get them, I'm gonna have to pay for it.
Right.
Because I haven't eaten it, and I can't tell you how long. And even let's say if I would get a steak, which is probably once to twice a year, I get a steak and I eat half of it. I give the other half to my wife, simply because that's just a tough meat on the body, and it's hard for the body to break it down. You if you feel like you need meat, that's why I push so hard the pescatarian diet. You know, fish is a lot lighter, it's easier on the body. You know, you can eat a big couple of ounces of salmon and feel like you haven't even eaten meat.
Oh yeah.
You know, or shrimp. And it's kind of hard to find authentic crab meat. I see most stores have the artificial crab meat, so I wouldn't recommend that a lot.
Oh yeah, they have that imitation stuff in there.
Yeah. Then a lot of my clients, they try to ask me about crawfish. Since we're down here in New Orleans, I say no. because it's full of sodium. You know, they put so much seasoning on it. But yeah, and back to when you said you don't want to be thin. I think being a vegan or vegetarian won't make you thin. Because like you said, for the amount of calories, you just up the amount of calories that you take in with the vegan and vegetarian products. Like Carolyn said, I know some overweight vegans and vegetarians because what they don't get in the protein or the meats, they add to their carbs, which is not a good thing. Um, so I think you can get to a weight that you want and maintain it if you switched over to vegan or vegetarian. You just sort of have to overload the calories that you eat and the workouts that you do. Say like if you want, like I said, most people are not looking for a big bulk body. You know, most men or even women who want muscle, they want to be lean with it. You know, and I wouldn't call that skinny or thin. You know, because you still have muscle, and that's the term I rather use, lean. You
Okay.
know, versus thin.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And can I add something? Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. This is a dialogue. Come on, talk. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to mention two things. So yeah, I totally forgot about that thin comment you made. So yes, I do know a few vegans that are like as big and strong as Rob. Like,
Okay.
so don't think like you'll just,
Waste
be
away.
super, thin or like obese or anything. Like, no, that's that. It depends on what you consume. And then
Okay.
one other thing, for those meat eaters, and I know I mentioned this the last podcast that we had, but like just stay away from processed meat. Okay. It's a group 1 carcinogen. That's basically the same thing as tobacco.
So you mean I can't have bologna?
Right. Really try to steer clear of that. Like, even if you choose like not to go plant-based or whatever, like it's totally fine. Just do not eat processed meats. Okay.
Okay.
So Subway, no. Okay.
So I know what it means, but I just want to make sure because I had some conversations recently from some people that watch my podcast, and they said, PK, they call me PK. I need you to make sure we get the understanding of the words that are being used. So you said class 1 carcinogen?
Group 1.
Group 1. What does that mean to me?
So the World Health Organization, they base, these groups on the amount of studies and information that comes back on, the different types of chemicals and things like that affect your body and that cause cancer and things like that. So obviously we know tobacco is directly linked to lung cancer. So, when it comes to your processed meats, like, your deli meats, even the grilled chicken that you find in the deli meat section or, all of that's considered processed. So it has been directly linked to certain cancers. And so that is why it's now on the same level as tobacco.
Wow. So for those of you that are watching now, I may be seeing this on the replay. I want you to listen very closely to what was just said. So we're right at that time. I'm going to keep you guys to, and I didn't get through. I'm still in my introduction, actually. So I'm going to get one question more out of you guys. I'm going to ask you to wrap up, then I'll let you go back to your evenings. Thank you for your time tonight. So when you look at, I want to make sure I phrase this up right, because I don't want to exclude any community. But when you look at our community specifically, what concerns you most about our eating, exercise habits that you see amongst our people? Carolyn, I'll start with you, DeAndre, then Rob.
I think is that the food is that we put so much seasoning in our food. It has to be savory in order for it to be good. We don't consume the food the way it's meant to be consumed. We don't want to taste the broccoli, really. We don't want to taste the steamed broccoli with a little bit of seasoning on top. We want to taste the steamed broccoli with some cheese and some paprika and some Cajun seasoning and maybe a lot of other stuff. So that's the part that, I think that if we as a community can get our head around that, I mean, medicine is food and food is medicine. I think if we can consume it right and stop adding in all of the butters and the oils and, things of that nature, I think we as a community can live more healthier and prosperous lives. I, you know, I don't want to have diabetes. I don't want to have high blood
Mhm.
pressure. And I can honestly say that I'm almost 50 years old and I have never experienced any of those in my life. And that is a rarity for me, and people in my family, because they feel as though if your mom and your dad had it, then you're destined to get it. And I
Mhm.
think you said earlier, that it's not the issue is not the hereditary aspect of some of these diseases. The issue is that we carry these cooking habits and lifestyle habits down from our parents. So if we can just get away from the fact that it's supposed to taste good, like food is supposed to be savory, and instead of using it as a mechanism to fuel our bodies, to give us what our bodies need in order to get us on to the next day or through this day, then
Mhm.
for me, I think that that's going to be beneficial. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to eat tasty and good food. You
Right.
should, but I mean, having it, loaded in gravies and butters and oozing out cheese and things like that might be something to consider if you're looking towards living a
Mhm.
healthier life and it being sustainable for you to do that.
Okay. Thank you, DeAndre.
I don't really think I have much to add.
Okay.
But literally what Carolyn said, like, unfortunately, sometimes I feel like we are just so stuck in our ways, just like, oh, my mom did it, my grandma did it, so obviously this is the way, so if we could just, kind of just go back to the way food is meant to be, in its most natural state, and just add, a few things, to savor it. But yeah, we just need to consume what's going to be good to our body, for our bodies.
Awesome. Brother Rob?
Okay, be real quick and short because what was said was well spoken. Um, on the nutrition side of it, I think that we need to realize that what we eat, we become.
Mhm.
And like for instance, let's use pork or fried foods or sugars. That's just gonna you're gonna start to look like that pork. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever that is you're eating, you're gonna feel like it. We have to know that food is medicine. If we take the food that's natural and cook it down, cook all of the nutrients out. Those nutrients are meant to go to your body, to fuel your body, not to make you go lay down and feel sluggish. That's all.
Yeah.
That's seasoning and the bad oils that you could be cooking with. And then on the physical side or the outward, as far as men, I think men we are too apathetic about our health. We're like, I'm a man, I'm strong. It's ego with men that comes in, or if you can just put up an arm and still they be okay, but the muscle genetics that men have, it can really be much better than what the natural man walking around has. Um, or some men just worry about the upper body. They don't worry about their lower body, which is their foundation, which holds the entire body together. And then for my sisters in our culture, I truly didn't, since the bulk of my clientele are women, because like I said, men don't want to work out. We have to lose that mindset. I want to be thick. That really gets me. They come. I want a flat stomach, a big bottom. You gotta lose. You gotta lose that mind, because the thickness that they're talking about is what they see on social media or TV is actually unhealthy. Unhealthy thick. They they want these big old legs, this big old bottom, but they don't realize you can get that in working out as well, which you want. You want your weight in muscle, which they think, well, I don't want to look like a man. Well, genetically, a woman cannot look like a man. You can lift all the weights in the world, you will never look like a man until you shoot steroids into your body. That's the only way a woman would turn, because she's now putting testosterone, which they don't produce that much to look that way. So I would say that's one of the biggest killers in our culture. The I want to be thick for the women, and then the men just being egotistical. I don't need to work out. I'm a man. I don't need to go to the doctor. I just told my wife I need to go to the doctor because I haven't been in so long, But I'm more of a procrastinator on that end than ego because like I said, I'm well aware of my health. If I start to feel something in my body, it lets me know. And naturally, our body's supposed to let us know. So if you can eat bad day after day after day and your body doesn't let you know, 9 times out of 10, you're on your way to something bad if you're not there already.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I'm
we can't.
sorry, I left that muted on purpose. I said, "Wow!" I said, "It's not too often I'm speechless." That one just hit me in the chest. I think all of those are really good points, and I want to say to you guys, thank you. We're going to have to do this again. I want to keep my word to you because I've got, like I said, a litany of more questions I wanted to go through. We had our conversation the other day, and we didn't even hit the bulk of those. So thank you to the three of you for being here on tonight. But before we leave, one, we want to thank Rob because today is his daughter's birthday. So happy birthday to your daughter. Yes, sir. Thank you for pulling away and tell her thank you for sharing you with us on tonight. But before you three leave me, for those of you that are watching, thank you for watching The Pastor's Perspective. They will certainly be, hopefully they'll all come back on with me, that they had a really good time. If you would go over to iTunes or Google or Spotify, download, subscribe to A Pastor's Perspective for me. This will be uploaded by Saturday, Sunday, so you can go back and listen to it as well. Before we leave, I'd like the three of you, I think I mentioned this to you, if you had 3 things or 2 things that you'd want to leave out with tonight to share with the people that are here now or that are listening to this on the replay, what are those 2 or 3 comments or things that you would like to leave? And lastly, with that, also, once again, remind the people who you are, your businesses, where they're located, how they can get in contact with you to kind of follow up after this podcast is over. So I'll start with Carolyn, Deandra, and then end with Rob, and then I'll take it on.
My 3 things are: when you go shopping, make a grocery list. Don't go shopping hungry. And
Amen.
if you're going out somewhere, carry a healthy snack. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Naturally Being Lynn. So please go out and like my page and share it so that we can be well together.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming back tonight.
So I just only have 2 things.
That's fine.
So carry a water bottle with you at all times so that you can always stay hydrated. And then plan ahead, for both food and physical activity. Always try to think of ways that you can eat healthy, carry healthy snacks in the office, stuff like that. And then for that physical activity piece, like just always think, okay, let me park further away. Let me take the stairs instead of the elevator. Just like try to plan that, while you're going to whatever location you're going to. And then, all that stuff at the bottom is VV Spots information. You can find us on social media. And then we do offer coaching sessions for those interested in our nutrition counseling.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming back on the show tonight. Brother Rob, first time on The Pastor's Perspective. Thank you for being here, sir. Go ahead and share with us your points and talk to us about who you are in your business.
Okay, I got maybe point. Well, number one, we may hear a lot, but it's probably one of the truest statements in the fitness world. Your health is your wealth. And to say that, my second thing, invest your health. Get out of the mindset of, I don't want to pay for a trainer, I don't want to pay for a nutritionist or dietitian. You're gonna pay the doctor if you don't do these things. So who you rather pay? You're gonna pay the pharmaceutical company, and they charge a lot more than we do. Mm-hmm. Secondly, I'm a certified trainer in New Orleans. If you want to get in contact with me, Instagram, Facebook, Radical Fitness, just how it is on the bottom of the screen. And one thing I do, since I'm down south, not sure where everyone is that's watching, but if you hit me up, I can do tailor-made programs, meal plans. If I can't physically train you, we can always find a way to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Once again, guys, I appreciate you taking time out of your evening to be here with us on the Pastor's Perspective. Great information, great dialogue, something I'm passionate about as I'm working towards healthy alternatives for my life. So when you all pray tonight, just say, Lord, keep Kelvin away from those steaks, because Rob said once or twice a year. I'm like once or twice a week on a steak. Lord have mercy. But this is a lot of good information, and I'm a little different. I like to be challenged. Tell me the truth. Tell me what I need to hear. And my concern is for the body of Christ. Anyone, this is for anyone, but to the community that I'm in are typically church people. That's what we do. We go to church, we eat, we lay down, we go to church, we eat, we pray for miracles, and all that's good. But, you know, a lot of the miracles that we're praying for is just a lifestyle change. It's not the devil fighting you. It's the fork and the plate.
Yeah.
It's the fork and the plate. And so that's where I want to end with on tonight. Now, my laptop just did something crazy, but that's okay. We'll fix that. I have a video that I want us to go out on, and we have Ann Givens that says, this was all good. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Ann, for participating. Thank you, Deacon Forbes, for participating. Thank you, Lady Nicole, for participating. I want to end with a video on tonight by one of my family members out of the ministry. Her name is Maria Ave. She has a new track out that I just absolutely love, and I try to spotlight anybody within our ministry and our community that's doing something positive. I want to put that on to the three of you. I'm going to add you into the green room. Brother Rob, I know if you need to jump off to be with your daughter, I got you, or your family, I got you. But if you two can hold on for a minute, we'll wrap up. For everyone else, thank you for joining A Pastor's Perspective. We'll see you again soon. And until we speak, peace abide. Enjoy the video, everybody.
Looking for a brother standing in rain. She ain't there for the life. She out here in these streets chasing fortune and fame. Something doesn't feel right. Silver linings appear like the drip that it goes. Take it back and knock your soul. So hard. Look up, the answer is always in the sky. Inside yourself, you see the light. Queen inside, and turn all your wrongs to right. Girl, you gon' be just fine. Just leave it all behind. Nothing's in stone, we can just rewrite it. Don't you know you can let a dog night? If you dream, then you can reach it. You run the world, make all believe it. Inside yourself, you'll see the light. He's giving you a sign. And I'm stunting like my daddy. Me gusta me amor, there's no reason I won't adore. Every day he lets me explore opportunities, open doors. And I get what I'm praying for, he be spoiling me this, I'm sure. Could I really ask him for more while they bring me back to the chorus? Oh yeah,